Listen and subscribe to the Table of Truth on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts. Welcome everybody to Blerdlines. It's your man Cam. With me as always is
the Josh himself,
as well as
and D, the professor.
And welcome to Blerdlines Reacts. This is where we're going to be watching some trailers, coming in cold, and giving our reactions. And it'll be a mix of stuff that we want to see, a mix of things we have no interest in, but we're going to try to keep it mixed up so that it can at least be kind of fun. That way, it could be real and authentic.
Why you say it like that? Stuff we have no interest in.
No interest in
everything on this podcast. Cam.
Segue She-Hulk.
Wow, the
segue.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I like She-Hulk. What are you talking about?
You know what? We'll watch the trailer and see if that's the case.
Oh my God, this guy.
Oh, it's like Westworld.
Wow! Jesus, what the hell, man?
Still in control, no overwhelming feelings of rage.
No, a normal amount of rage.
You do revert back to Gen form when you sleep.
Was the air horn really necessary?
For comedy, absolutely. This is a multi-year journey you're about to embark on.
Yes.
Yeah. Who's your best friend?
Nikki.
Spandex. Spandex is your best friend. Being a Hulk asks for balance. You have so much more to learn. Yes!
So I'm clearly nailing it at all these things.
If you want to go back to your life as a lawyer, I respect that.
He doesn't mean that.
More and more eccentric superhumans are coming out of the woodwork. We're going to launch a division for them, and I want the She-Hulk to be the face of it. Jennifer Waters.
Namaste.
I have a serious conflict of interest. This man tried to kill my cousin, Bruce.
Yeah, that's quite all right.
Oh. People only care because I'm representing Emil Blonsky. I think they care because they're like, hey, that girl's great. Jen, do your thing. God, I really like this outfit. I'm not proud of this.
Miss Walters, we answer to a higher power. Our universe is on the edge of a precipice.
I am a lawyer. We do things by the book.
The Book of Ashanti.
No, the Book of American laws.
Whether you like it or not, you're now a superhero.
Let's do this. You know that friend you had in high school who was way cooler than you were attractive, got all the attention from everyone? Hello.
I think I'm jealous. Is that what I'm feeling?
I hate the logo.
I
I like what I saw, but I don't like the logo.
You know what? I think I like what they're trying to do. They're trying to make sure they're trying to bring in that extra fun element. And I've read She-Hulk a little bit here and there, but it looks like they're going more the 90s version where it was she's a full-time lawyer, but she's also green.
And, version.
Yeah, so it makes kind of sense with the route that they're going. I think it'll help with the bringing that levity back into a lot of the Marvel stuff because everything's been so dark and dreary and I am the lol type stuff. But I'm curious to see how they kind of weave it in with everything else. Of course, we'll have the Daredevil cameo, which is interesting. I think that was cool to use Wong and Abomination because we previously saw them in Shang-Chi, which was cool.
Shang-Chi, sir.
Sorry. but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it looks like it could be fun. It's fun like on an Ally McBeal type way,
Yeah, it looks like it'll be fun. I I still have a sour taste in my mouth from how they did the Hulk in Endgame. So seeing Bruce now is kind of like whatever. You were inconsequential there. You're going to be inconsequential in this. I think I have PTSD now. But other than that, I mean, it looks like it'll be fun. I mean, Tatiana Maslany is a brilliant actress. So I think she'll bring what's required of the role to the role itself.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think I've ever seen her do comedy that I can think of, but she'll this is light work compared to Black Orchid.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, Orphan Black was like kind of crazy, so it's like
Orphan Black.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see. It's like I want her to succeed. I don't know if I want the show to succeed.
Yeah.
Well,
you've been decidedly nonverbal.
I'm just gonna say, because I said I didn't have much to say, and after having seen that, I still don't have much to say. I would say that there are some things that I fall under the category of just don't need to happen, and this is just one of those things. And you got it there. I think this is one of those things that you have to be invested in Marvel on a more deeper level to appreciate and like something like this.
I'm also curious to see like the pitch for this. Like, who was like, "Hey, we should do a She-Hulk series." Like, that'll make no sense.
In today's sort of spirit of time zeitgeist, I can see someone thinking this could work because, again, you have now 20 plus, you have about, 20 years? Is it 10 years, 15, 20 years of MCU?
Yeah, about 20 years,
content, TV, film, and all this stuff. So you have a setup for that type of conceit, a superhero who's both a lawyer and a superhero who's hunting some of the superpowered individuals, age-old story. But again, I think like you guys said, it seems like it'll be fun if you are invested wholesale into Marvel. But if you're someone like me who is more interested in their more serious acts, if you will, or their as far as that goes, but then this doesn't appeal. I saw that the trailer looks good, but I won't be watching that. It has no appeal to me.
At least they improved the CGI because that the first teaser that they had, what was it, a year ago, 2 years ago, whenever it was, looked like garbage.
Less than 6 months.
So this looks.
I haven't watched any of it, so this is my first time going cold. So it looks.
Oh yeah. The trailer, they had a teaser for. I think it was like when they did Comic-Con Light last year.
So they just.
It didn't look good. I didn't like what I saw. I was very concerned.
Interesting.
Yeah, the CG
looks good on there. The one question I do have is I'm very curious to see how they. Well, that's not a question. How will they pivot? I guess it is a question. How will they dovetail this into whatever the next thing is? Because usually these things sort of pivot towards or leave you sort of facing whatever the next thing is going to be. So I'm very curious to see how they manage to do a comedy and still melt it into the bigger picture.
Yeah. It'll be interesting.
So that's more so the connective tissue is what I'm curious about. And that's probably the only reason that, like Dee said, if you're invested as I am in the entire Marvel ecosystem from top to bottom, then you're gonna watch.
And also, She-Hulk has previously been an Avenger in different iterations, so it kind of makes sense that I can kind of see that. So I can see that being something, because again, you've already lost RDJ, you already lost Chris Evans, so you kind of have Hemsworth still around, sort of. So all these people that are coming in now, that in my mind, that's like how they're thinking about it from a larger scale. So
you got to think about the names you just listed. None of those people were box office big budget money makers before, with the exception of RDJ having come off two Iron Man movies. But before that, he was a character actor with a sort of you know, we know it's past. We don't need to bring it up.
But let's leave it there. Yeah.
Right. And so he had a resurgence, and the rest of them were new.
Yeah.
So now they have an opportunity, in hoping that they can do the same thing for, you know, this next crop of MCU character stars that will be bouncing from TV to film and back, you know. And I think that's another unique structure that they have that allows them to go from, you know, do a scene or 2 or 3 scenes in a TV series, but also be in movies as well, which is something that previously you didn't have those twins colliding as much as you do now. So I think, if nothing else, She-Hulk is another avenue that leaves that open. But I kind of go opposite of what you were saying, Josh. I hope that they don't try to connect it to the larger what's going on, because I think that they're getting to the point where they need to stop that, because some of that stuff needs to be able to exist on its own in a larger world without being consequential to everything else. For example, when Ant-Man is like, when Iron Man is like, if you substitute encounter with damn near being killed by all the Infinity Stones, and Ant-Man is like, well, not me, I don't even know what you're talking about. I thought that was a great moment, because it's Marvel acknowledging, hey, all of our important characters don't need to have been a part of the this larger tapestry of events that have happened,
but they can live in the same universe.
Exactly. But he still was important, because without him, the idea of quantum time travel doesn't come up. It doesn't occur to them.
Yeah.
So I want them to continue to have stories that don't necessarily have to dovetail back into the overarching.
Right. The characters can still peel in and out, but their stories don't have to.
And I think, and they did a good job with that with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Netflix shows, where it's like they exist in those worlds, but they weren't connected to it.
Right.
And so it's just like, you know, stuff would happen in it, stuff would happen to it, but, you know, you could do it on their own.
It also worked out that Kevin Feige hated those shows. So.
Yeah, that helps too.
And then, you know, like in Spider-Man.
Yep.
We know Matt Murdock is a practicing lawyer in New York. So it makes sense that also Spider-Man as a vigilante would catch his eye. And somebody that he would defend. So yes, it makes sense that Matt Murdock shows up, because he exists in the world. But if Matt Murdock showed up or didn't show up, would that have changed the narrative of Spider-Man No Way Home?
Not at all. Not at all.
It enhanced the movie, but it didn't. Yeah. If it didn't happen, it wouldn't have detracted from it.
Yeah, right. It's a weekend nudge.
Right. It enhanced the world. And that's what you can do without it.
So now, speaking of like more enhancing the world, our next trailer is Andor. In the Star Wars universe, and again, this is another one where this is something that's going to be expanding the world of Star Wars, not connected to Skywalker. So let's take a look.
Also, did not ask for it,
right?
But here we are.
Here we are. They just keep giving us stuff.
They're so proud of themselves, so fat and satisfied. These days will end. There will be no rules going forward. People are standing up. That's what a reckoning sounds like.
Andor, original Star Wars series, streaming August 31st, only on Disney.
Okay, that was a quick. Oh wait, it's multiple.
Yeah, so they did.
There's a larger trailer.
Yeah, they did a quick joint, and they did a larger one. So I'm gonna throw it. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna throw in the larger one as well. I think this is more the SDCC one.
They're so proud of themselves, so fat and satisfied.
They're everywhere. They're watching me now.
Soon enough, these days will end. There will be no rules going forward.
People are standing up. That's what a reckoning sounds like.
Okay.
You know what? Watching this trailer, the first thing I thought of is, why can't I have a Lando show? That's all I ask for. Can I just get a Lando show? That's all I ask. Six
I wonder
episodes.
who's the Qyburn. Remember the actor that played Qyburn in Game of Thrones is shown in as an Imperial something. He's got it
He's
a white.
Yeah.
The mops were white. I thought they wore
Sorry. Right, you're right. He was.
I thought that the directors were
executive directors. Yeah.
But it was weird because he kind of looks like Palpatine before he fried himself. Yeah. But no, I still can't help but get the same feeling when I see the visuals. It's like we're stuck running in this same loop.
It's a loop. But they can't get out of it, dude. They can't get out of it.
Here's what I'll say what I look forward to from that trailer. First of all, the audio was great. I like that the editing. They really, it's a sound kind of that sound mix where it's nothing but the audio is driving the imagery, which they did it well. Star Wars lends itself to that perfectly. But I look forward to the ground level stuff, facing the Empire from a non-Jedi, bounty hunter, non-Mandalorian, none of these sort of
just
institutions.
Regular ass people fighting the Empire.
Exactly. Just a regular person starts off regular, gets indoctrinated because they are suffering under the heel of this totalitarian. I think that's something that Star Wars hasn't explored, is just what the policies of Emperor Palpatine and his empire does to the galaxy. Like what is that? Why are they tyrannical and have to be
that's a good point.
Undone? And I think that's something we've never gotten from, other than they're evil. And we've seen plenty of examples of their maleficent behavior, but I think when you're dealing with a story where there's government and stuff like that, you expect a little bit more. Okay, how are these people under the thumb of this empire? Like, what is it that they're, what are violated, what humanities are being taken.
And I think Rogue One did a good job of showing that, right? They like that's part of the reason why the movie was so good, was because it wasn't a Jedi, it wasn't a Sith, it was a bunch of ragtag people. Some were mercenaries, some were force sensitive, but it was just like, these are people that are just existing in this world that figured out like the Empire sucks and we got to do something about it. Like, what can I do?
I think you brought up a great point, D'Angelo. I think most of Star Wars is sort of grounded in Empire bad, rebellion good, and you don't know. I mean, you know why, but you really don't know the granular, like how the existence of the Empire impacts the man on the ground.
Right.
And that's important. I agree. Right. I totally agree with that. That's not something that I fully thought about as far as like the visual medium is concerned.
Yeah. We know that totalitarian regimes, some people are okay with them, and they have their reasons. Yeah. And so, and for the audience, the reason that we're told to hate the Empire is simply because it's led by 2 Sith Lords who we know are evil. Or at least one is extremely evil, the other one is just a rage monster. And so I think this is an opportunity to say, hey, here are some reasons why these people would join up against this empire.
Yeah, no, definitely true. And I think that's the part that's going to make it kind of cool, because at least, like, we've been talking about this for a long time. We're just like, yo, anything that's not Skywalker tied, we're like, I'm all for it. like, yeah,
I'll try it out.
Yeah, I'll try it out. It's it's a big galaxy. Like, give me non-Skywalker stuff, and let's see what we can do with it.
And no sand planets, no desert.
Yo, that's the other thing I was gonna say. Like, look, it's not on Tatooine.
I don't like sand. It's coarse,
dude.
It's everywhere. Now I see why Anakin hated sand so much. I mean, he was prophetic.
Yes, he was 100%. All right, next up we got what else we got? Oh, next up we got interview with the vampire Anne Rice. So it's the interesting one just because I didn't really know it was coming. I just had heard about it. D'Angelo mentioned it, and I was kind of like, okay. So yeah, I'm curious to see how all this is gonna work out.
I was being hunted.
Help me, please. He's in my head, Father.
The year was 1910. New Orleans. You could say I managed and operated a diversified portfolio of enterprises.
Dear God, I hope you got the letter and I pray you can make it better now.
I was being hunted, and I was completely unaware it was happening.
I've been watching you for some time now, Wick. I can swap this life of shame. Swap it out for a dark gift. You just have to ask me for it.
Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. I lay down with the devil, and I can't think nothing anymore. Lord, help me. I am weak. I want to die.
You don't fear me, Louis. You feel so.
I ask the questions, you answer the questions. Anything that can't be verified, I send to my researcher. So, how long have you been dead?
I would say that this obviously appears slightly closer to what I know about how she describes the characters and stuff in the book. I think the interesting thing to me is Claudia, the character Claudia, in even in 1996, it was controversial to have young Kirsten. Not 1996, whenever that was.
I think it was 90s. Yeah, it was 90s.
Yeah. To have young
Kirsten Dunst. She was
Kirsten Dunst,
14, 12, 13, something like that.
She was something like that, but she was in some pretty racy scenes with both Brad Pitt and
Tom
Cruise. And that story is, she becomes a vampire and she's stuck in that state as a child, even though she does get older, mature, and in years, and that becomes a thing. One of Louis' many mistakes in the story, but it's one of my favorite, one of the best vampire stories, I think. in terms of using that. But the trailer, I think the trailer looks interesting enough. And I think
I was gonna say that. I was like, one, shout out to my man Grey Worm out there getting them
Riley Ritchie, Jacob
getting them checks. Hey, you gotta keep it moving there, brother. I think it's very interesting. AMC is very hit and miss when they do their shows. They see their it's either like Hall of Fame, like best ever, or like what?
That's very true. Mad Men, Breaking Bad, and Better Call Saul are like all TV Hall of Fame.
And then all the other stuff, you're just like, wait, how does that even get
Why
relit?
did you do this? Why did you do it the way you did it?
Exactly.
So their swings and misses are crazy. Like they'll hit like amazing, but then the other stuff, I'm like, what?
I'm weirdly ambivalent. Trailer didn't do anything for me.
Mm-hmm.
It was pitched straight up the middle. I really wasn't like, ooh, like I didn't get oohed, I didn't get odd. No,
I agree, and I think to Josh's point, I think that straight up the middle, that makes me worried that like they really didn't try to expand as an adaptation as much as they just went straight up the middle and writes the story, almost like the same way that the movie did, where it's like you cut out all of her sort of brilliant development and stuff like that and just go for like Lestat stalks Louis and then he turns him and the two of them have a sort of ongoing homoerotic relationship and then Louis does what he does with Claudia and then she's involved and then all of it just seems like they're going across the board, just ticking off the major plot points. That's what that trailer kind of came across to Josh's point. So it'll be interesting if they decide to add, if this is going to include all of her works or just Interview with the Vampire. Because after Interview with the Vampire, years later is when Lestat meets Akasha, or the Queen of the Damned.
That's right. That's right.
It'll be, and I'm not sure what happens. So, like I say, I got to reread that stuff. It's not sure what happens to Louis, but I know that Lestat eventually meets Akasha, but it's years after his. I think he meets Louis meets Akasha around this, and I'm probably pronouncing her name wrong. Around the same time that Louis does that interview. Or a little bit after. I can't remember exactly because he wakes up and he becomes a rock star, Lestat or whatever. So
I didn't. I read Interview with the Vampire. I didn't read Queen of the Damned. I watched the bad Aaliyah movie because it's Aaliyah because you had to watch it. But so all right. So next up we got House of Dragon. This will be interesting as well because I think. This is another one of those things where it's like we didn't really ask for it, but now that it's here, we're kind of like this looks kind of fresh. So I'm curious to see how they're gonna how this is all gonna play out.
He's afoot. It's clearer than a memory. I heard the sound of thundering arms, splintering shields and ringing swords. And I placed my hand upon the Iron Throne. And all the dragons roared as one. I consider the matter urgent. That of your succession.
Well, who else would have a claim?
The firstborn child.
Rhaenyra. No queen has ever sat the Iron Throne.
The king has an heir, Daemon Targaryen. I will not be made to choose between my brother and my daughter.
Rhaenyra's succession will be challenged. Knives will come out.
You are the king. Your duty is to pick a new wife.
I have decided to name a new heir. I'm your heir.
He's afoot.
Do you think the realm will ever accept me as their queen?
A woman would not inherit the Iron Throne, because that is the order of things.
When I'm queen, I will create a new order.
Your family has dragons.
There are power men should never have trifled with.
If Rhaenyra comes into power, she could cut off any challenge to her succession.
I am to inherit the Iron Throne. She will block my way.
Our hearts remain as one.
Our hearts were never one. Have you never imagined yourself on the Iron Throne?
Where is duty? Where is sacrifice?
How they see you as you are.
Damn, son.
Yeah.
They get that a proper budget.
I mean,
yeah, they didn't cheap out. And honestly, because this is my favorite story in the Targaryen history. This is the period where there's the most dragons in Westeros ever. So that the fact that they went with this story, that, and you see, like they're not skimping out on the dragon budget. Like they look as good as they did in Game of Thrones. And the thing is, these Targaryen dragons are much larger than the dragons, than Daenerys' dragons. I think we lost Cam.
Agreed. It looks good. I'm a Matt Smith fan, so the fact that Matt Smith is in this only makes this even greater.
Oh, and the character he's playing, I think I'm so excited that he is that character, that they picked him as Prince Daemon Targaryen, because he's going to do such a great job as that character. And Daemon is, again, like, this story is going to be great because it already has a beginning, middle, and end. Mm-hmm. You're going to see, as you see in the trailer, the Targaryens are at their height of their power.
Yes.
And this is before, as you can see, you don't see a lot of Lannisters, they're there, but this is a period where
they're not more powerful.
Targaryens. Yeah, nobody challenged the Targaryens. Where Daenerys is laughable compared to this version of House Targaryen. Like, I'm talking dragons that Balerion the Black Dread is still alive in this period. Right. And you saw him, actually, that dragon with the long neck that was sitting on top, that has to be Balerion the Black Dread. Because the Black Dread at that point is almost 200 years old. And he's ridden by Valerian is dead. That was Vagar. One of the remaining three great dragons that conquered Westeros.
So at that period, there were only 3 dragons?
No, when they conquered, when Aegon and his sister wives conquered, they only conquered Westeros. They only had 3 dragons.
Wow!
But they brought dragon eggs to Westeros. There were dragon eggs at Dragonstone, and as you saw in the trailer, they have a ritual every time a new Targaryen child is born. They place an egg in their crib next to them, and the egg hatches and binds the child with the. That's why you saw in the trailer Daemon could go up to Caraxes and literally put his hands to his face. Nobody else could do that, but that's because Daemon was bonded from a baby with Caraxes,
right?
Called the bloodworm. That's what they call it. That's what Caraxes is. But yeah, the story is great. I think the trailer did showed a good amount, but we'll see how it all shakes out.
So, how many years before before A Song of Ice and Fire is this?
At least 200.
200. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
This is about 100 and so years after. Figured as much. This is about 100 or so years after Aegon conquered Westeros, and the Red Keep had been finished because he died before it finished. Aegon didn't finish the Red Keep. It was finished by one of his progeny. But yeah, so this is the period that cripples House Targaryen. They are still extremely powerful because they're supposed to be doing the Night of the Seventh Kingdom or the Tale of Dunk and Egg, and the Targaryens are still the monarchs, the ruling monarchs, and that's set about 80 to 100 years after the events in House of the Dragon. But at that point, the Targaryens no longer have their dragons are like a joke, pathetic. Like every dragon that they try to hatch either dies or only grows to be sickly and then dies. There's a dragon in the story that they keep as like an ornamental pet that's no bigger than like a dog in those stories, in the Dunk and Egg stories. So it'll be interesting to see if I was just explaining to Josh that the House of the Dragon will show the Targaryens at the height of their power. Literally when they have about 10 or more dragons at their disposal in Westeros that they could literally hop on at any time and go anywhere. Like there are dragons, there are even wild dragons that they haven't tamed that are in like the hills of there's one dragon called the Cannibal that actually eats other dragons that they have to watch out for because he'll kill their dragons. And so you'll see the difference between, there's going to be a lot of comparisons between Rhaenyra and Daenerys, but Rhaenyra was flat out, the throne was stolen from her, was bamboozled away from her. And versus Daenerys, who technically had a weaker claim because her family lost the throne by right of conquest.
Right.
So at that point, the Targaryens lost the throne. So she didn't have. Renly had a stronger claim than either her or John.
Interesting.
How that turned out.
Yeah, we can see that. All right, so then now on the other end of the spectrum, we got the Lord of the Rings with the Rings of Power, which is going to be on Amazon. Is it Amazon? Yeah, it's Amazon.
Yep.
Amazon.
So
Bezos actually used more than pocket lint for this one.
Yeah. So we'll see.
This is supposed to be the most expensive streamer of all time, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting because they also have the Wheel of Time, which is only in its like second
season, right?
The second season. No, only second season, I think.
Yeah, and they also had a huge budget as well, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We thought the war at last was ended.
That's bad.
Today, our days of peace begin.
Ned Stark.
We thought our joys would be unending. We thought our light would never dim.
The skies are strange.
It is here, Galadriel. The moment we feared.
Evil does not sleep. It waits.
Beyond the darkness, tempting shadow, to bury us all beneath the mountain.
He has not one name, but many.
If you heard of him, lad, if you heard of Sauron,
shadow rising is left unchecked, it will take us all. Find the light, and the shadow will not find you. Together we can survive this! Fight with me. Each of us must decide who we shall be.
There can be no trust between hammer and rock. Eventually, one or the other must surely break.
You have been told many lies of Middle-earth.
Oh.
You guys recognize him. That's who kills Gandalf, but or kills Gandalf. But the great thing is that this story is like set thousands of years before the Fellowship and the attempt to once again. I think this is the second age or third age, and the one in the movies is the fourth age. So in this, they even show, you can see the reference to Sauron walking and the elves bowing or whatever. Not elves, the orcs bowing or whatever. So he's physically, this is a time where Sauron physically walks Middle Earth and is literally about to forge all of the rings that he eventually gives to man, orcs, elves, the dwarves, and of course the ring that he keeps for himself to control them all.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think it's kind of cool because like now we're getting like, it's so far removed from what we've already seen, and it's years along, so it could literally be anything.
Yeah.
Plus, it looks like it has a decent budget, so it's having fun with that aspect of it too. So,
yeah, young Ned, the actor that played young Ned, is actually playing the character that Hugo Weaving plays in.
Okay.
Lord Nelikins
in the movie.
Nice.
Yeah. Just like again, you saw Galadriel, who Kate Blanchett plays in. Because again, all these characters, those elven characters, live for thousands of years, and a lot of them lived during like the first age. They were there. The Elrond, that's his name. They were there for during the first time that Sauron attacked Middle Earth or waged his war against Middle Earth. And then I think the second time with the rings, with the rings is the second time he tries to rule Middle Earth. The first time it didn't involve the rings; it was just he tried it by force with the orcs, and he's extremely powerful because he's like an angel, basically. Basically, Sauron is Lucifer.
Yeah, that's what it always seems like.
Yeah,
I mean, plus Tolkien was a very devout Christian and all that stuff too, so it makes a lot of sense.
But Tolkien was less willing to be that obvious with it as much as
like a C.S. Lewis or something like that.
Lewis, yeah, because like C.S. Lewis, it's obvious. Like,
heavy-handed.
But Tolkien does incorporate a little paganism in the stories, a little, but largely his narrative is meant to be a monotheistic story about, a one God and this God creating these various agents, and then one agent gets corrupted and tries to corrupt all of his creations and all that stuff. And but again, Tolkien just expands it to new, bigger heights. He even wrote a lot of those languages. He was an anthropologist, so a linguist. So he wrote a lot of the Elven and all those languages that he wrote like legit, the phonetics, all of it, the rules, all of it.
Crazy.
Yeah,
it looks really good. Say again.
No, it's crazy. I think it's I mean, again, it's super. It's the level of the deepness of it, and I think that's what came across with Peter Jackson when he got to do Lord of the Rings, the very first one, is that he was like, "Yo, there's so much here to work with."
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm just bringing it to the screen, but like it's already all everything's already written out already. Everything's done, and like the visuals and everything. It's just more about bringing it up there."
And I'll just say one more thing, and before we move on, the comparing the we saw the Lord of the Rings and House of the Dragon back to back, and the two fantasy worlds. Obviously, Tolkien lived way before George R. R. Martin, and he influenced him. But the interesting thing is the story that's in the Rings of Power is taken from Tolkien's Silmarillion, which is like his Bible of Middle Earth. And the story for House of Dragon is taken from Fire and Blood, Volume 1, which is George R. R. Martin's complete history of the Targaryen family. Like, it's not really told entirely in narrative prose, more like a history text written by a maester or whatever.
Interesting.
So there are a lot of connections between these two shows.
Spiritual cousins.
Nerdy spiritual cousins.
Yeah. No, that's dope though. I think. I mean, again, it's one of those things where like we didn't ask for this, but now that we're gonna get it, it's gonna be pretty dope if it's pulled off well.
Yeah,
and it
I'm
seems like
that Bezos has thrown as much money as he has.
Yeah, I mean, he's bored now. Expanse is gone. What else he got to watch?
Yeah, but he's one of those. He's just like us, in that way. Well, except with billions of dollars, but he's like us in that he loves that those fantasy stories, and like I think the desire to bring a true Tolkien's world truly to the screen is just like anybody has a chance to do that, they're going to take it, and because you can see it's beautiful, like just that's Tolkien's world, like as opposed it contrasts so as much as Star Trek in the Expanse contrast visually in terms of the space and the world of Ice and Fire, Westeros is the rugged fantasy world, whereas Tolkien is the beautiful land optimism. There's dark stuff happening, but at the end of the day, there's hope.
Yeah.
Whereas Westeros is like you'd be lucky if you survive to 20.
Basically, Westeros, you save a cat in a tree, your arm getting chopped off.
Or you and the cat will be engulfed by a dragonfly.
Yep, exactly. Like you do any altruistic thing in the Game of Thrones universe, you're going to die. This is really what it comes down to.
So it's going to be great to be able to, for the first time, compare the two similar fantasy worlds as they play out visually or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's August, right?
Yeah,
August 21st for House of Dragon.
They're fighting.
And,
This is a big swing for Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
HBO.
I mean,
kind of wild in there.
Yeah, because Amazon, they got their Oscar, they got a couple of Emmys, they're doing their thing. So they're trying to, I mean, because HBO's been stepping their game up too. So that I think in the last
go head to head.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Well, really, it seems like it was more HBO kind of was like, oh, so you guys are going to create your own Game of Thrones. Hey, GRRM, what else you got in the in the fight? And George R. R. Martin pulls out Fire and Blood, and he's like,
I got this. Y'all want it?
Now that you've
100 years, a house of the Targaryens, you can tell that story. Here, it'll give you 5 seconds.
He's like, now that you woke me from my cash bath that I take regularly every day,
Exactly.
I guess I could give you something.
I could give you something that'll rack up at least 10 Emmys.
Exactly. Hey, you wanna go to war with Amazon and Tolkien? I've been waiting for this day since I was born. What was the Blade quote? It's like, Blade, ready to die? I was born ready, motherfucker. That's what HBO asked George. They're like, hey, you ready to go up head to head with Lord of the Rings? So I was born ready. We're gonna kill them all, kill everybody. It's gonna be all kinds of sex. Everything that we can be different, it's in there.
Yep, exactly. All right, so now we're gonna wrap it up with our last trailer, which is John Wick 4. Yeah, we're just gonna. This is gonna be fun.
John Wick.
Have you given any thought to where this ends? The table will never stop. You know this. No one, not even you, can kill everyone.
You ready, John?
Yeah.
Oh man, why do we laugh at such violent delights? These violent delights have violent ends.
I mean, honestly, I remember I think I watched the second one with my ex-girlfriend, and she had never watched the first one. And she's like, should I watch the first one before I watch the second one? I was like, someone comes, kills John Wick's dog. He kills everybody.
He goes on rampage.
Kills everybody.
And then she watched it, and she was like,
go.
Damn.
You know what I love is how they reunite
Larry Fish.
Larry Fishburne. Yeah, and he's like totally the assassin Morpheus this time.
Yo.
Ready, John? Like, let's
Amazing. Easiest check that he ever got. He's like, yo, what you doing? Nothing? Just come hang out. I know you got the Blackish thing going on, and that's been kind of fun. It's nice and cushy, but come hang out with us for a little bit. It'd be fun.
And Keanu was like, yeah, I'll stick with John Wick. No more Matrix.
This is what I foresee. I think John Wick is going to be like Mission Impossible, where you watch it and you're like, all right, cool. That was cool. I don't need to see anymore. Everything's good. You can cap it right here. And then he comes out with another one and you're like,
and you say the same thing.
Yep.
Every time. Watch it. But this should be the last one.
Yep. Exactly.
And at this point, we're at like what, Mission Impossible 25, whatever we are. I don't know.
You know what? Honestly, as I said before, as long as Tom Cruise is running in the movie, I will be there.
Yo, we went to go see Fallout, and Tom Cruise started running, and Cam and I were falling over each other laughing, trying not to like disturb people.
That's it. That's all you need, man. Hey, he's the last white action hero. Again, we do not need another Mission Impossible, but we keep getting them, and they're amazing every time.
And they're amazing, and they're always better than the last one.
Yep. I enjoy it.
Is in that same category. And actually, I love the thing I love the most about John Wick. Now we're 10 years later since I don't know if that's how long it's been.
A little less, around that time.
A little less than 10 years since the first one, but that movie was released as totally an independent thing.
Yep.
You know, not independent, but you know what I'm saying. Not meant to make any splashes, something totally ridiculous, right? A hitman going on a rampage because someone murdered his dog. Like, on the surface, it's supposed to be
the most 90s premise for a film
right.
you could ever ask for.
It's not supposed to work in the 20 teens, but it did, and it has. And I like that little idea that was not supposed to go anywhere is now a multi-million-dollar movie franchise. So totally I love that, because that movie was not expected to do more, not nearly what it did.
And I would say also too, one, an original IP. That's another one.
Yes.
And then two, they just have a lot of fun. Like the world that they created was fun. Even in like 2 when they expanded it, and in 3 they expanded it some more. Then they had Nobody with a homie from Better Call Saul, which again, why did they make this movie? But then you watch it, you're like, this is totally entertaining, and it literally just expanded the same world that inhabits John Wick, and you're like, that's again, going back to original IP, this is what you want. You want something that's original. It's not a book. It's not adapted from something from before, and you can expand the world in and then they're going to do the TV show, which honestly is a good move because the hotel is such an interesting place that can easily lend to multiple different characters and all these different layers.
And there's so much more to be explored about it because they teased it in the story. But we focus primarily on John Wick, but we know that this is a whole society that's out there in the big wide world. So there's plenty to continue the IP and continue the content. But like you said, this is one of those rare examples of originality in today's Hollywood, big budget or small budget filmmaking or storytelling. This is something that was original, and now we have TV series and spin-off movies and things that will continue to spiral from it.
Yeah, and I'm like I say, I'm excited. I'm glad they're still doing it. I'm glad that Keanu Reeves actually enjoys doing it.
Yeah,
I'm glad that everyone that's involved enjoys doing it too. So it's like it's one of those things where like you can tell the people that are making it are having fun. The audience is enjoying it. Like even with 3, when they had Halle Berry come in, I was like, "Yo, Halle Berry's doing this," and she fucking murdered that shit.
Yeah.
So it was just,
it was like, it was great. I hope we see more of her.
I hope we see her. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you can never
going to get a spinoff.
Yeah, something like that. Because I mean, even the nobody, even the nobody story.
The hell out of that.
Yeah, the nobody story is getting the spinoff for AMC, I think, which I know that's part of the relationship with Bob Odenkirk, but I would rather that go to an HBO or something.
Yeah, true. Like you said, AMC, it's either a Hall of Fame or what?
Just like Interview with the Vampire. That's another reason why I'm kind of like, along with the sort of lukewarm trailer and the fact that it's on AMC, I'm just kind of like, that one, if I miss the first 5 episodes, I won't be mad. But I will eventually watch it and see if it's worth continuing.
And the John Wick spinoff is on what? HBO?
I think HBO Max. I think because
Continental, right?
It might be on something else because that's a Paramount.
Oh, might be on Paramount. Interesting.
That's a Paramount property, I think. Right?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is a Paramount property.
Interesting. All right.
Double check that. Don't quote.
Yeah. No, but it's like again, it was.
Right. I think you're right.
Like highly entertaining, super fun, and it's original, which is also great. So yeah, I'm again. I think John Wick's that. It is if Keanu wants to make more, we will be there front and center.
Yeah, they'll get more money.
Yep.
He's already on record saying as long as people keep wanting him to make them, and I mean, and he's very clear that by wanting them to make them, he really means if y'all keep showing up. I mean, and we keep showing up. Each one has made more than the last.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, it's an event film, and you go to it knowing what you're getting, and we love it for that. And so,
you want to go to the movies to see it. Like you're not gonna. I would not sit at home. I would not volunteer to sit at home and watch John Wick.
Yeah.
Unless I've already seen it in the theater.
Yeah. No, sure.
Yeah, I think no matter how many more we get out of Keanu or whatever, it's safe to say that John Wick is now in the lexicon in the same way as a John McClane or even more a James Bond, because I do believe that or Jason Bourne, because I do believe that at some point years from now, when Keanu is done and with that role and doesn't want to play it, I believe that you can recast John Wick and with another character and have with another actor being John Wick, continuing to be John Wick. Like it will be tough to get used to, but I'm saying if they still want to use it, they can. I mean, it's even if it's an animation thing.
Yeah, no, totally
sure. Animation,
it'd be insane, bananas.
Yeah, man, that'd be super dope. But all right, cool. Well, this has been again Blerdlines reacts to trailers. We're gonna be trying to do this a little bit more often because it's kind of fun. But thanks for rocking with us. Peace.
Bye bye.